Hello, how is it going, everyone? I am Skullzi here, and we are introducing a new podcast on the channel, Gaming Insight, where me and my fellow Bethesda brothers bring you Bethesda news, E3 news, and more. I am Skullzi. I'm sure you guys know me if you stumbled across my channel. If not, I talk about gaming news and other Bethesda news as well, and my two other awesome co-hosts are here as well. We have KingFanMan.
Hello, I am KingFanMan. I do channel on all things Bethesda. Right now I'm doing Fallout 76, but I'm going to do Rage 2 and all kinds of other stuff. That's about it.
Hey guys, my name is Joe and I'm from PlayItForward. I do Bethesda content. I'm trying to dabble in different games as well, like Cyberpunk, so that's what I'm doing at the moment.
Cyberpunk's awesome. That's another one of the games from E3 that has me totally hyped. And speaking of E3, that's what we're going to be talking about on this podcast. We're going to be talking about all our favorite moments from E3 and what we're looking forward to in both Bethesda games and Cyberpunk and more. And a little bit about Gaming Insight is it's going to be a weekly podcast, and this is the first episode, so we're just going to kind of talk about E3 and go from there. But in other future episodes, I'd like to have fan mail. I'd like to have us respond to comments. So be sure to leave us a bunch of comments down below. Or you can tweet us directly. I'll put all of our Twitter profiles and handles down in the description as well. So let's get things started before we get into Bethesda, because I'm sure we could talk about that for hours. Let's go ahead and touch on Cyberpunk, since you mentioned you're totally hyped for Cyberpunk and you're going to kind of do some content yourself. What's the main thing that draws you to Cyberpunk, Joe?
Me, it's something different. You know, it's like I'm more of like a post-apocalyptic guy. I love Fallout. So for me, and I played The Witcher a little bit, but it's something different. Really excited for it in that regard. But what's also very interesting is the possible connection. I know a developer for Cyberpunk said that there wouldn't be a connection between that game and The Witcher 3, but something seems a little fishy. So who knows? But I think it's interesting and it should be a lot of fun.
What about you, KingFanMan? Are you into Cyberpunk 2077? Is that one of your hyped games?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm hyped for it, but I'm definitely going to give it a try. You know, it looks like a kind of a cross between an RPG and a first-person shooter. It's kind of going back and forth what it's going to be, right, Joe? But yeah. I'm definitely going to give it a try. I'm more of a Bethesda guy, but yeah, I'm excited for it. Absolutely.
Yeah, the FPS and the RPG elements is kind of what draws me to it, because it reminds me a little bit of almost like a mix between Bethesda, like a Bethesda game and like a Grand Theft Auto game almost, which kind of interests me a bit. I'm just hoping that the first-person elements are good. Like Fallout 3 was a really good game, but some of the FPS elements were a little bit off, like trying to aim. There was no iron sights. I hope they do that well, and I hope that the RPG elements aren't called RPG elements, but really they're just exactly what Far Cry 5 had. Far Cry 5 had skills and stuff, but I think RPG games go deeper than just having a skill tree to choose from. That's like RPG light to me. So I hope it goes beyond what Far Cry does. But I am super excited for the world. It looks like they're putting a lot of work into the character development and into your customability with your character and how it interacts with other people around you. There's a cool stat depending on what gear you wear. You can unlock other missions because depending on how cool you are. That all sounds pretty cool. But I'm wondering if it releases alongside like a major Bethesda game, like even Starfield. Well, Starfield isn't Cyberpunk, it's still kind of sci-fi. So 2 FPS shooting games going head-to-head at the same time. I wonder if that is going to make one game be released purposefully the next year or the year before. What do you guys think? Do you think that might alter the release date of Starfield, possibly?
It could.
It could. Of course, didn't The Witcher and Fallout 4 came out the same year, didn't they?
Yeah, The Witcher.
Of course, it also hurt Fallout 4.
Yeah, and that wasn't even an FPS RPG. That was like a third-person fantasy as opposed to the FPS post-apocalyptic RPG that Bethesda was.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, though, there's similarities. There's definitely similarities. When do you guys think that we're going to get Cyberpunk?
Well, I read an article recently, and the developer said he doesn't want to rush it. So the earliest 2019, so next year, but it doesn't have to be next year. It could be sometime later. So that's good. They don't want to rush the game. You know, that's what you want to hear as a gamer. You don't want to rush product, essentially. So that's good. You know, so the earliest next year, but I don't think so. Okay. Honestly, yeah. I think it'll be released most likely on like the PlayStation 5, the new Xbox, you know? So that's what I'm feeling.
I agree with Joe. When they say they're not going to rush it, it's not coming anytime soon.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I really hope that it's not called the Xbox 2. If it is, I'm just going to laugh the whole time. I mean,
the Xbox 2.
I don't know where they're going to go from Xbox 1, but Xbox 2 would just be silly.
It'll be the Xbox 5000 or something like that.
The Xbox, the Y box,
the Xbox 550. What?
It's over 9,000.
Just something stupid.
Oh man. So speaking of Elder Scrolls and Bethesda and Starfield, man, they showed us a lot of big stuff. They showed us Elder Scrolls Blades, which I think is underrated. It looks super good for a mobile game. They showed us Starfield. They showed us 76, and they teased us Elder Scrolls 6. It was a big year for Bethesda. I couldn't control my hype. Every next announcement, I'd scream a little bit louder until the whole chat that I was part of just went nuts. But out of all the stuff they talked about, what are you guys the most excited for Bethesda-wise? Go ahead, KingFanMan. You start first this time.
Oh, man. All of it, like you said. I should have said when I introduced myself, thank y'all for letting me be on this. I'm excited about this podcast, first of all. Love both of y'all's guys' stuff. And I'm just excited to be with y'all. And yeah, but E3 was awesome. Fallout 76 kind of worried me at first. I'm not an online guy at all. I've always been a single player guy. But the more I've researched it and done videos for my channel, the more excited I've gotten for Fallout 76. And I'm sure we'll talk about that more during the podcast. Starfield, I've been doing videos on that for a while, getting heat from it. I'm sure y'all have too. People saying, no, that's not a game. And I kept saying, yeah, it's a game and it's coming. So that was super exciting when they said Starfield was coming. But I've always been an Elder Scrolls guy, so I really can't say which game excited me the most. Probably Starfield, I guess, because I was so pumped when that one was said that it's a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the whole conference was great. Rage 2 looks awesome. I'm going to be very busy playing some games very soon.
Yeah, same. What about you, Joe? What do you think?
Well, my favorite part of the conference, I mean, to be honest with you, if they didn't show Elder Scrolls 6 or Starfield, I don't think the conference would be nearly as good. So that kind of, the cherry on top of the ice cream, you know, that's what it did for us. But I'm excited for Fallout. I love Fallout, but it, like what KingFanMan said, it being an online game does scare me a little bit. And doing some research as well, it doesn't scare me as much, but it's not the Fallout that we're used to. So we just have to see what happens. Starfield, super hyped about Starfield, especially since Todd Howard did say that it is playable right now. Yes. So who knows when we're gonna get it? Could be next year, could be 2020. I'm thinking 2020, but I wouldn't be shocked if it is next year, you know. So I guess Starfield as well. I'm really excited for, especially because it is playable right now. So that drives it for me. My excitement for Starfield.
Yeah, I agree with you. If they didn't show Starfield or Elder Scrolls 6, especially with Fallout 76 being online only, I think it could have went a totally different direction for Bethesda. Man, it would have been bad probably for them. It would have been another bad year. And
I think that's why they did it. You know, if they would have just announced a mobile Elder Scrolls game and an online Fallout game, people would have gone crazy.
Oh, yeah, they would have lost their minds.
And Pete Hines kind of confirmed that the other day. You know, in that interview, he kind of said the same thing. He didn't want, they didn't want fans to freak out, so they went ahead and did something totally different than they normally did. And my word, they announced. You know, they normally just announce games that are coming out this year, and they actually went 2 games into the future to reassure fans, hey, you know, we're still a single player game developer. That's who we are at our very heart. And I think they really wanted fans to know that.
Yeah, I'm glad they did that too. Not that 76 looks bad or anything, but like you said, they're supposed to be the single player RPG. You know, everyone knows what Bethesda does, and if they only did an online only thing, people would have maybe even thought that their company was taking an entire new direction if they didn't mention Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6. And one thing that comes to my mind is Starfield comes out before Elder Scrolls 6, yet it's supposed to be next gen, right? So if Starfield is the introduction of a Bethesda next generation game to their fans, then they got to do something all out even bigger with Elder Scrolls 6, because Elder Scrolls 6 simply being a next generation Bethesda game won't be enough, because Starfield already took that mantle. So what are they going to do with that? They've got to do something big with it. So I'm thinking, yeah, I'm thinking multiple regions or something. It's hard to say. But there are dev kits coming out for the next generation of consoles now, which means that companies are starting to develop their games, or already have been. They're just now publicly talking about it, which means those games are almost done already. Like you said, Starfield is playable. So I'm thinking within the next couple of years, we're going to at least get Starfield in our hands. Definitely no later than 2020. And that's super exciting to think that we're going to get a brand new Bethesda RPG open world game, that a brand new IP that he's been trying to make for 20 years. Todd Howard has been trying to make this game for 20 years, man. And just look at the look in his eyes when he talks about it in the interviews. He just, like, is taken aback every single time. He just, like, leans back in his chair and just, like, you could just see the vision in his eyes, man. He's just so excited for this game. I just can't wait for it. Now,
what did he say about it? The most epic science fiction game?
Yeah, the most epic science fiction thing that you could possibly imagine or something.
Imagine, yeah.
What, coming from him? Like, what?
Yeah.
What is this thing going to be?
Pretty wild.
It's going to be exciting. And a little tidbit of information, we actually recorded this podcast once before, but technical issues were the problem. So we're having the same
And y'all should have heard that one. That was the best podcast ever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty damn good, you know?
It was good. So that's a good sign for things to come. We want to do this every week. So we're kind of rehashing some conversations we've had before, so we're trying to retouch on those topics in this podcast. The next ones we're gonna branch off. We may not only be Bethesda centric, but we're gonna talk about Bethesda a lot. And right now for this podcast, it's probably mostly gonna be Bethesda. Now here's one thing that I want to talk about. This happened actually since we recorded the other episode before, so it gives us more to talk about. The No Clips documentary with Danny O'Dwyer. He was interviewing Todd Howard, and Todd Howard said that they're taking a new direction with their development and approach with Starfield than they've taken with their other games. So I don't know what that means per se. That could mean maybe it's a linear game and not an open world game. Maybe it means that it's like Assassin's Creed Black Flag where you're going to ship most of the time. What do you guys think Todd Howard meant exactly by that? He was being vague on purpose. Whoever wants to go first.
Honestly, that makes me a little nervous, you know, because I want Starfield to be, you know, an open world RPG that we all love from Bethesda. And if it's going to be like a linear experience, you know, a 20-hour game, that makes me a little nervous, you know, because I want, like, the sound of a new open world sci-fi RPG from them. That's freaking cool, especially since Mass Effect dropped the ball too, you know? So the sci-fi fans want that open world, you know, sci-fi RPG. It's just, where will they get it? And you could possibly get that from Bethesda, but if they're doing, because with Fallout, they're already doing online, and they already said Starfield won't be, you know, an online game. So, but if it's something different than what they're used to, then what are they doing? So is it a linear game? I really hope not.
I hope not either. Yeah, it's hard to say exactly what he means by that. Like, what do you think, KingFanMan?
I don't think it'll be a linear game, but I don't think it's going to be just the classic VGS game either. I think as he was talking, I think it's going to be an epic, totally new experience from BGS. I think it's going to be a multiple planet kind of thing. I think it's going to be a major, as I said, new experience from BGS. It's going to go over the top. Even though we don't know right now what it's going to be, and I don't even dare to guess right now. I've got some ideas, but it's going to be major. But I don't think we need to worry about it being linear. I really don't. it's going to be open world.
I'm sure it'll be
It's
open
going to
world.
be massive.
Yeah. I'm wondering.
Many open worlds.
Yeah, many open. That's the better way. Yeah, many open worlds because there's many planets. Open universe. One thing that oh, looks like KingFanMan. There you go. Okay, your webcam fixed. One thing that gets me interested is, well, maybe not interested, but worried, is that they're talking about how they have more engines to procedurally generate woods and terrain and stuff like that. I'm wondering if maybe 30 or 40% of the different worlds we explore are procedurally generated somehow. Now, with that being the case, I don't think that would be necessarily bad, because when people hear procedurally generated worlds, they think No Man's Sky, where it's just like these random things that don't look like they work together. Looks like they just picked plant out of a hat and like a color of the planet out of the hat and threw it all together, and you just got a mixed match of whatever you ended up landing on. And the planets always looked weird most of the time and didn't seem that interesting. They just seemed like they definitely were randomly generated, right? And that's not how things would probably look in real life. They'd probably look like they formed together throughout thousands of years. It wouldn't look like this plant was just popped here from a code. Bethesda has been using procedural generation, as I'm sure some of you guys know, in some of their games already. A lot of their foliage and their plants and their ground cover is all procedurally generated by code, and then Bethesda will pick the best-looking generated terrain, and they'll just spruce it up and add in personal touches, and then that saves their developers a lot of time from having to individually go put every single plant into the world. A lot of studios do that. But they wouldn't do it like No Man's Sky does it. They'd probably do it like how they do it with their foliage and their shrubbery. They'd probably generate these worlds and see what looks best, and then use that as a base, and then build them from there, which will save them a lot of time. And at the same time, some of the worlds that are less important in Starfield that we can discover will still have that little bit of Bethesda touch, but they can still get away with it being a little bit barren if the planet wasn't meant to be important to begin with. If it was just one of the, not every planet in space can be interesting. Some are just a little bland. I think that might be what's going on, but I'm not 100% sure. How would you guys feel about something like that, or about if Bethesda chose to take the procedural generation a little bit too far?
Go ahead, Joe.
They would have to do it right. They have to watch, because like you said with No Man's Sky, that it just, lack of a better word, it sucked.
Yeah.
It was a really bad game. So especially, for an indie game being $60 and being hyped like it was a bad game. So as long as they do it right, which I think they will, because they've been working on Starfield for how many years now? Quite a while.
Since before Fallout 3, yeah.
Yeah. For quite a long time. So they know what they're doing. They're not stupid, especially with, the new Fallout game getting so much, flack for that. They're not dumb. They know what they're doing, and we're gonna get something really, really special with Starfield. No matter what they do, it'll just be interesting to see how they approach this and what they do with the game. So.
Well, I agree with y'all. I mean, they did it in Skyrim. They did it in Fallout 4 with like the land, with the foliage, and I don't think they'll get carried away with it.
Yeah.
I really don't. They know what they're doing. And they put in the good personal touches that make it just right. And when you're talking about a space theme, I don't believe you're really going to be able to notice the generation, because I mean we're not talking about places that we know what they look like anyway. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They're not recreating Boston or New York,
Unless they put Mars in there, like some new theories are.
Right.
About. FanMan, you kind of had a theory. Why don't you go ahead and talk about it, about your Starfield theory?
Well, it was just a thought in that trailer where it shows the space station. You have the planet there, and the space station, it goes to light speed. There is a theory that the space station may be performing a terraforming of the planet, which is, did y'all see the old Star Trek, The Wrath of Khan? One of the best movies of all time, by the way, where they would shoot the Genesis rocket to the planet, and it would turn a dead planet into a living, breathing planet.
It's kind of like the Gek from Fallout, almost.
Yeah, right. Well, that would be the terraforming. Well, that's one idea that maybe that's what's going on in the Starfield, that they're going around terraforming planets. Just an idea, and I'm sure there are many ideas out there about Starfield.
Oh yeah, there's plenty. That's one thing that caught my eye too, is that satellite looked like it had a cannon in it,
In the middle.
One thing that caught my eye is, as we know, Todd Howard has been trying to make Starfield for a long time. He tried to make it back in the 1990s, late 80s, with a game called The 10th Planet, yes, and his vision was way too grand and it almost bankrupted Bethesda. But there's concept footage in a trailer, a couple trailers for that game, and in that footage they show similar looking satellites, and they all have like these big guns in them, these big cannons, these satellite orbital cannons, and they blow up planets. So I'm wondering if he's carrying over some inspiration or story elements from the 10th Planet and bringing in the Starfield, and what we're seeing is a planet destroyer probably just sitting there getting ready to blow up a planet. And that's when the scene comes out. Or maybe it did blow up the planet. Maybe that was like the actual energy of the weapon going off. It looked like warp speed, though, actually, is what it looked like.
Yeah, it did.
So it's hard to say.
And they also were working on a Star Trek game as well. I don't know how much development they did on it, but they were working on I believe it was a space station game as well. I believe it was the Deep Space Nine Star Trek game.
Oh, that's interesting.
So they may have used elements of that in this game as well. They've been trying to make this game for years.
Yeah.
What would you want to see from Starfield, Joe, that makes it something that you'd like to see, that's something that you would love? I know you want it to be like a Bethesda open world game, but do you just want it to be like an Elder Scrolls or a Fallout with a space skin, or what unique thing do you want to see from the game?
To be honest, I never really put much thought into it. I haven't yet. But feeding off your guys' ideas and everything that you guys have to say, multiple planets, that would be cool. I'm so used to, I never really played Mass Effect, just a tiny bit of that. So but I've put in thousands and thousands of hours into Fallout. So I'm used to that. So playing a sci-fi game and it being made by Bethesda does sound really, really cool. And anything made by BGS is, really excites me. So, but what I would want to see, I guess multiple planets traveling from, but I wonder now, I'll ask you guys this. Do you think it'll be, there be one main planet or like multiple planets that play a huge part in the game? What do you guys think about that?
I think there will be a main planet. That's just my idea, that there will be a main planet or a main couple of planets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I think it's, you said you haven't played Mass Effect, but I think it's going to be something like that. Like there'll probably be a few main planets, like maybe they're the home planets for some races, some aliens, and then there might be like other planets that have side missions. Like let's call it 3 tiers of planets. There's like the main ones, like maybe 2 or 3 of them, home planets, side mission planets or main mission planets where there's like one mission there, so there's extra content or stuff to be discovered, and then there's probably the planets that are made to represent the emptiness of space, where it's just barren. There'll probably be a mix of all those 3. Now, one interesting is how many planets do we think there's going to be? Is there going to be like 50? Yeah. Is there going to be 30? Like 20? Like how? I don't want there to be too many empty ones, but then again, it would be realistic, right?
Yeah. Also, what excites me about Starfield now I'm thinking here. What excites me about Starfield is like if you bring in the settlement building from Fallout 4 into Starfield, then what would be really, really cool if you could like start a planet from scratch almost and like be the leader of like your whole planet. That cool. and like maybe like I don't know how they would do this, but maybe like start your own race. Or like just something of that nature. Like, that would be so friggin' cool. And you're like the lord of, of your planet essentially. And that just, I don't know, like that in itself sounds pretty awesome. But I have a question for you guys. I'm kind of backtracking a little bit, talking about the E3 conference and everything else. Would you guys have been okay if they didn't show Starfield or Elder Scrolls 6, but they showed a Fallout 3 remastered? Would that have been okay with you if you just saw the Fallout 3 remastered and not Starfield or Elder Scrolls 6?
I like it better what they did.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
So
Starfield made me go crazy.
Yeah,
Now,
oh,
don't get me
sure.
wrong. I would love to have a Fallout 3 remaster, especially
Yeah.
if they fix the shooting like Skullzi was talking about.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, sure.
But no, Starfield made me go crazy.
Yeah.
That's what did it for me.
So just as is, yeah.
Yep.
Perfect.
Do you think, speaking of that, and I know they hadn't announced anything, I know what they've said about remaster, but, in my little dream heart, I keep hoping, since this is the 10th anniversary year, do you think they might, is there a chance that they might still announce one come October?
That's so hard to say. They might only
Like
because
one for the Switch, anything, just a rebox, anything.
I think that there's a chance because what was it? Was it the Fallout 3 remaster that got taken out by ZeniMax?
Capital, yeah.
And if you notice, they
so.
didn't do that with Sky Oblivion. They didn't do that with the Morrowind one, right? So it makes it seem like they have something
and that
specifically
just
planned for the Fallout one. Like, almost like they do have a remaster coming out, and they don't want anyone else to have, like, a mod that does it for them because they want the attention for theirs. I think that might
again, again, the date on the Pip-Boy in the first trailer, I hate to keep going back to this, on the very first trailer for Fallout 76 is the date that Fallout 3 came out, October 27th. It's the day the first copies came out.
That's interesting. I wonder.
And at the E3 conference, which is really cool, if y'all notice, November 18th is when the launch day for Fallout 76 is. But go back and watch when Todd first announced that, it said October 27th first up there, and then it rolled over to November 18th.
Huh.
It did that on stage.
Oh, that's
so I think they were playing with that. So there's something coming October 27th, whatever it is.
That would be cool if they did the
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but like the thing is, listen, I would love that more than anything else. I might even buy that before their newest game. However, though, like, just from a business standpoint, wouldn't that be like bad marketing too? Like marketing a game so late, And listen, I would love that, but it's just I don't know how realistic that would be. But on the other hand, due to the fact that the new Fallout game is getting so much flack. I wouldn't be shocked if they went in and they made something. I'm not saying that, because they do essentially have to rip the game down and build it back up. But look at what that team of modders did for Fallout 3. It looked great. It really did. So imagine if Bethesda can just take 75 people from their studio, BGS, and say, hey, remaster Fallout 3. How long do you think it would take them if they just worked at that? You have
the whole Montreal studio. And think about it, that would be 3 weeks, almost a month before Fallout 76 launches. That would probably be a pretty good advertisement for Fallout 76.
One thing that came to mind was this reminds me of what's going on with Modern Warfare with Call of Duty. They remastered that, but you're only able to get it, or you would get it for free if you pre-ordered their new game. I wonder if they're going to use the remaster of Fallout 3 and say that you get it for free if you pre-order Fallout 76 and you get it early. And that could kind of be like a consolation for those who still wanted another single-player Bethesda game along with Fallout 76. That might be a possibility. That may be why they're keeping it a secret, because, yeah, everyone knows about Fallout 76 and we're hyped, but maybe a month or a couple months before its release, they can build that hype back up by saying, hey, look, boom, Fallout 3 remaster, and you get it with Fallout 76. I think that might be what's going on, maybe.
And y'all have heard it first here. I like that.
For once, someone is taking a page out of Call of Duty's.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah. So now that so we heard kind of what I really liked from E3 and kind of what you really like, KingFanMan. Joe, what did you really like from the Bethesda conference? We know you like Cyberpunk, and we know you're excited for. I would say Fallout 76 the most. Is that what you'd say? You're the most hyped for?
Yeah, but I think I made a video on this actually. I think Bethesda's hidden gem could be Elder Scrolls Blades. It looks like it plays like an Elder Scrolls game, and to possibly play it with friends, right? Because you can share towns and do all that. It sounds really cool, and it's free. So it's a free game, and you could play it on your mobile phone. I believe they said you could possibly play it on a console through VR. You know, it'll be cross-platform. So that could be their hidden gem, and it could possibly, I mean, if it doesn't, oh well, but it could possibly hold people over for Elder Scrolls 6. Possibly. I'm not saying it will. But I feel it's their hidden gem throughout the whole conference, because did you expect that? Did you expect an Elder Scrolls mobile game that looks like a legitimate Elder Scrolls game?
It looked like
It
Oblivion,
reminds me of Oblivion.
Yeah. No, you're right, man. I think you're hitting the nail on the head there. And actually, the more I hear you talk about it, the more I'm actually more hyped for Blades. And you're right. It's like it's like an Elder Scrolls game, right? But it's free. You can play it on PC, I think they even said. And the fact that it's free means they're going to add more content to it. And yeah, it could probably hold people over until then. And you build up a town, don't you? Don't you actually like get a town that you build up? And upgrade?
That's like the main quest, I think, in the game.
It seems like.
Well,
oh, go ahead.
I think Todd said they were going to try to release it on like VR and other things. Mm-hmm.
Bethesda seems to be really excited for this town building thing, don't they? I wonder if that's going to be in Starfield, like you were saying, but also Elder Scrolls 6. I had a theory about Elder Scrolls 6 that maybe we'll finally get to go to Akavir, and we'll get to build up a colony in Akavir, but Pete Hines recently said that it's going to be in Tamriel, so who knows. Wouldn't it be cool if you could help... Ooh, High Rock has a lot of empty places with a lot of ruins or something. If it is in High Rock, maybe you can either help the Bretons rebuild or the Orcs rebuild, because they both used to have vast empires in High Rock, and they both lost these vast empires and became isolated tribe states, more or less. The Bretons less so, but the Orcs definitely. So wouldn't it be cool if one of the main things with the storyline is, instead of a civil war, you can choose, do you want to help the Bretons rebuild or the Orcs? And you can maybe manage towns and build towns that way. Who knows? There's so much speculation.
Yeah.
It could go anywhere. It could go for
I think you're right about High Rock, though. I really do. Man, I love the Bretons, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, like I can understand the Hammerfell thing. It could maybe look like certain parts of Hammerfell, but my thing is,
well, and both of them could be in it. I mean,
I think they're both in it. Yeah.
They're bored, so yeah.
I think they're both in it, but to the main person that says it's Hammerfell, and I love you to death, Camelworks, but I disagree with you, and I say this because for a couple reasons. I don't think they're shown Hammerfell in the trailer because one main thing that is known about High Rock is its ruins.
He's got the bird, Skullzi. Come on, he's got the bird.
Birds, yeah. Well, one, it's known for its ruins and its empty, vast, rocky wasteland. Well, not wasteland, and that's basically what's shown in the trailer. And two, let's take Skyrim. The last Elder Scrolls game was Skyrim. Snowy, snowy tundra, snowy mountains, snowy wastelands. It would have been perfect if it was indeed Hammerfell in the trailer, to not only show the contrast of the last game of the snow by showing desert, but it would have much easily shown that it was Hammerfell by showing desert, than it would have been something that is so, so vague. So if it was Hammerfell, A, they would have shown it because desert's easier to tell Hammerfell, and B, because it would have been a big contrast from what was the last game being snowy in Skyrim. So I think that if it was Hammerfell, they would have definitely shown desert for those two reasons. And the fact that they showed what looks more like High Rock than anything should say a lot. I mean, yes, it still could be the very, very small coast on the Iliac Bay of Hammerfell that Bethesda just decided to be randomly vague about, when really, I don't agree with that. And then Fudge Muppet actually looked at the orientation of the rise of the sun, of how it was moving, and proved it wasn't Hammerfell based on the rise of the sun and how the orientation of north and west, or I'm sorry, north and south, and how the Iliac Bay was. So he did a good job on that too. So yeah, I think it's High Rock, but I think both Hammerfell and High Rock will be in the game. I did a video about that a while back. Yeah, so I think that'd be awesome. I'm super excited for that.
Make an awesome area. Ooh. We're gonna have some awesome games coming.
I know, so many Bethesda
in
games.
10 years.
So not only do I gotta buy this like $100 and whatever Fallout freaking 76 helmet special edition thing, but now I'm gonna.
Did you get it?
No, I need to still. I need to get it still. Yeah.
Are they making anymore?
They probably.
Yeah,
will,
they have some right now. So I heard yesterday. Anyway, one of my subscribers got one yesterday.
What?
Yeah, they're gonna
Yes.
they're gonna keep selling out of these and coming back. It's gonna happen.
Because it was so funny. I went to GameStop, talked with the guy. I was like, "Hey, man, can I pre-order it? Like, is there any shot right now at this point in time that I can pre-order it here?" And then he goes with just a smug attitude. Are you crazy? No, you can't. All sold out. I'm like, oh, wow. Thanks, man. Thanks a lot. Like, thanks for making me feel stupid, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, like, he said that, and I was like, all right, whatever. Maybe not. But, FanMan, you just made my day. So, I guess I'll keep on the lookout for it, you know? But, like, I want to pre-order the game right now so bad, and I'm holding out for the Power Armor Edition.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, man, I kind of want that beta too, you know? So, what do you do?
Buy it twice.
I probably will for the PC, my Xbox, my PlayStation, so I'll buy it 3
I
times.
already bought Skyrim, what, 15 times now? I may as well buy this game multiple times.
Absolutely.
No, like, a lot of these really hyped special editions, like GTA 5 had it too, Dragon Age Inquisition, they're going to sell out of these collector's editions like crazy, but they'll keep coming them back. It's just you have to wait for them to announce it and then go online or be at the store when it's announced and pre-order it right away. That's usually how that goes.
I never got my Fallout 4 Pip-Boy, but this Power Armor thing, and I'll try to make this quick, you know, they're rather expensive, and I was sitting there watching it, and they had it, and I was there, and I went, man, that's expensive. I don't know if I want to get it. And it's sold out while I was watching it. So I went to another site, and I was just about to hit it, and it sold out while I was two of them right in front of me.
Oh, you're making me sweat.
And I was like, oh, and then they were all gone, but luckily my wife had gotten it for me. So
that's awesome.
Love, man.
Yeah.
That is love.
Absolutely.
You hear me?
So don't hesitate. That's the moral of the story. Do not hesitate if you find it.
No, it'll be there. It'll be there. Oh man, this is just so. Now that we have like so many answers to the Bethesda questions, like what are they working on? Is Starfield real? You'd think it would like solve the hype anxiety, but it just makes it that much more crazy. Now it's like, I just want to know more about all these things.
Absolutely. Well, hey guys, are y'all excited at all about Rage 2? I was super hyped about that one, almost as much as the other games.
I am. It looked clean. The footage looks so good. It looked very, very clean. It looked fun. It looked not what I was expecting from it. It looked very good.
You got the open world, you got the vehicle combat, you got the shooting of like Doom. I mean, wow.
I wonder if it'll have RPG elements. If it does, it'll remind me of like a cleaner Borderlands almost. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from it.
Yeah, like the one thing that I love about like just like games like that, like open world games and stuff, is being able in Cyberpunk you could do this to customize your own character.
Yeah.
You know, and like create them the way you want. Even though it's a first person game, Rage, and so is Cyberpunk. I wonder if you're gonna be able to create your own guy, or he looks like what they want to look like, you know, kind of like have you guys ever played Watch Dogs?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
yes.
kind of like that's I like that game. I enjoyed it, the first Watch Dogs, but
like Assassin's
Creed. I kind of like creating my own character, and if in Rage you can do that, man, that makes me even more hyped, you know.
Now he's already an established character. I don't know if you can, make him look like you want.
Is it the same character?
He's no. He's what is he? Walker. He's he's a ranger. Walker. Because I laughed.
Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah, there you go.
He's Chuck Norris.
It is going to have RPG stuff because you can drive. They say if you see it, you can drive it, and they've got cars, helicopters, boats, and you can take any of these vehicles back to your base, and you customize them the way you want them. I mean, it's crazy.
Like a Far Cry game almost.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Huh.
Well, you know, the Avalanche is the makers of Just Cause, and they're the ones doing all the vehicle stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
They do a good job with the vehicles. The only thing that throws me off about is their vehicle physics, but I think that's more in the animation engine. I think Just Cause uses Havoc or something like that. I might be wrong. And cars always drove a little iffy in Havoc. They always were a little bit not, I don't know, fluid maybe. But the helicopters and the flying has always been good. Just Cause 3 was a lot of fun, but I never drove.
He froze on us.
Oh no.
I never drove. I either just flew around or I would just do the parachute.
We can hit.
What happened?
You froze
okay, there
on
you're
us,
back.
bro.
You froze on us.
Oh, I'm back. Did my audio freeze too?
Yeah, everything froze. We didn't hear anything.
Okay. I was just saying I like Just Cause, but I never drove because the driving wasn't as good compared as to flying or just doing the parachute thing.
I actually think the Rage 2 is in the Havoc engine.
Is it?
Didn't we say that last time?
Maybe.
I think it is in the Havoc
maybe
engine.
we did. I'm not sure, honestly. I'm not too sure. I'd have to look that up.
Avalanche did more on this than id did because see, id's working on Doom Eternal.
Yeah. I can't wait for
Which,
Rage 2.
by the way, I hate to brag just a little bit. You know, I'm here in Arkansas, and I'm getting to go to the QuakeCon, where they're going to reveal more about Doom Eternal.
Ooh, nice.
Ooh.
And that's in
awesome.
August. Yeah, that's in August. So.
Yeah, they're gonna talk about Doom there, Quake there, and I think a little bit more about Fallout 76, I believe.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's gonna be awesome. Speaking of,
So I'll shoot y'all some pictures and video.
yeah, do it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, are you guys? I know. Are you guys going to E3 next year? I know you are, KingFanMan. What about
Good
you?
Lord willing, I will be there. Yes.
What about you, Joe? Are you gonna go to E3?
I would love to. How expensive is it?
Oh, it's you can try to get an industry pass. If not, I think tickets are like $80 or somewhere around there. And then if you want to stay extra days, you gotta get a hotel. And the hotels are reasonably priced, maybe $120. I'm planning on going next year. I've never been. I want to go. If we all go,
we ought to go together and do the podcast from there.
Oh, that would be the way to do it.
That would be cool. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
That would be good. Yeah, we got
live from E3. That would be awesome.
We got a whole year to build up the podcast.
Yeah.
Get some interviews.
You know, but if my channel's a little better standing, then maybe, I would. I might be getting married by then too.
Me too.
So.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, guys.
Yeah, thank you. So, who knows?
I hope I'm not getting married.
Oh.
If I am, my wife would be upset.
I'm gonna see. My fiance wants to get married at E3. That's what we'll do. We'll get married at the Bethesda conference. Well, Starfield is being shown. That would be amazing.
Heck yeah, man.
Oh man.
Y'all think about going? That would be awesome.
No,
I would love
to
meet up with y'all.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I definitely want to for sure. Speaking of E3, is there any other things that you guys want to wrap up the podcast about? Last topics before we wrap this one about. I do have to go to work soon, but we do have a little bit more time. What do you?
Me personally, Gears of War 5.
Oh yeah.
Love Gears of War. Love it. Especially how they wrapped up Gears of War 4. I was like, wait, what? So I'm excited. I can't wait for Gears of War 5. Are you playing from the perspective of JD Phoenix, or are you playing from Kate? Because that seemed like that was the case.
I wonder if you could choose.
Maybe, but that, oh man, I'm so pumped.
Gears of War is good.
Yeah, it's such a great game.
Yeah, I love the story. I think last time we were tearing up about Dom and his wife. Oh man, that is like.
Yeah, I actually saw that clip in Gears 4, the one that you told me about, that Easter egg. Oh my gosh, man. Oh my.
It's so moving. And then the photograph falls to the floor, and you're just like, no.
Yeah, what is Dom?
So sad. Dom's story is one of the most moving experiences, like right up there with Ezio Auditore, like. so moving, so emotional. Like the things he goes through. He finally sees his wife again, and she's just spoilers, but she's just a husk of what she used to be. And like, man, it's just so sad. So I'm hyped for Gears of War.
Yeah.
It started to lose its luster a little bit after 3, but it came back. The story brought it back, actually. The story brought it back. Yeah. So that's awesome. What about you, KingFanMan? Any other games that we haven't touched on?
Man, there was a lot of them at E3. Of course, like I've told y'all before, the Bethesda ones are way up there above anything else. The Last of Us 2 was a big one. I was interested in Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk, yeah.
I wish they would have showed the normal people more. Insiders got like an hour more of it, wasn't that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Red Dead, they didn't show. Did they show anything? They were supposed to. I was excited about that one. They didn't show.
Rockstar Games is flaky, and I'll never cover Rockstar Games news again. Rockstar, you hear that? And
I know they won't even let you show anything without paying them for it. So.
I showed like 6 seconds of the first Red Dead trailer, no audio or nothing, and they demonetized my whole 6-minute video of me trying to get hype for their game. And now, get this morning I wake up to another copyright strike from Rockstar Games. Rockstar fucking Games. Another one of my videos from a long time ago got demonetized, and all I did was I showed something GTA 4 trailer related. GTA 4, the announcement trailer for GTA 4 from years ago. This video is like 8 years old, just got demonetized. So they're going through my old videos to copyright strike that stuff. That's how fucking So Take-Two Interactive can take themselves and shove them up their fucking number 2, because I'm tired. I'm never gonna do Rockstar Games ever again. I love them.
That's as bad as Nintendo, isn't it?
Damn,
I love GTA.
I'm sorry, man.
Oh, I mean, it's not like I'm losing money from those videos, you know what I mean? But it's just like the audacity, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Bethesda and BioWare let me use their entire trailer and monetize it. Probably you guys can too. They don't care as long as you're building hype.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
As long as you're not saying I made this trailer myself, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And Rockstar's like, you showed 3 seconds of a horse. No, give me all of your money, even though it's just 3 seconds of like a 5,000 second video. Like,
yeah. I mean, yeah, they're bums, man. Like that's like if you look at like GTA 5, like they're coming out with. Like more and more, it's such a money grab. It's such a money grab. Like,
don't they understand we're trying to help them?
Yeah.
Oh well.
We're trying to build hype for them. We like their games. They're trying to get other people excited. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's just how it is. And sorry for getting mad viewers and doing the bad fingers. But Rockstar Games, man. Those guys could just take 2 Interactive. That's you guys, fuckers. Anyway, we're gonna we'll end the podcast on that lovely note. But yeah, it's.
Hey, I want to say again, man, thank you for inviting us on this podcast.
I'm glad you guys are part of it. I wouldn't want anyone else right now. And sorry that it's been a little hectic trying to get this thing together. We first lost the first podcast.
It was worth the wait.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, man.
I said it's worth the wait.
Yeah, our first recording when my my hard drive died, we lost a podcast, and then we had a couple of schedule issues because I lost power. Oh man, this is a great couple of weeks, but we're finally here and we're not going anywhere, guys. So like I said, we want to get comments, we want to respond to your comments. Send us some fan art, send us some topics. If you guys give us a good lead on something, we'll definitely give you a shout out when we talk about it. So yeah, look forward to new episodes every week. I want to have this uploaded at about 10 to 11 a.m. every Saturday Eastern time. It just depends on how stuff goes. Sometimes life happens and we may have to push it a day, just depends. But thank you guys so much. Thank you, PlayItForward. Thank you, KingFanMan. These guys are my Bethesda brothers. Links to their channels in the description below. Be sure to check them out. Their content is highly underrated. You guys need to give these guys your subscriptions and spread their channels around. I don't know why their subscribers aren't higher. Seriously, subscribe to these guys. Look forward to more videos from them, from me, and from the podcast. So
thank you, bro.
Thank you, guys. Looking forward to next time. And as always, thank you for watching, guys. See you later.
Bye, have a great time.